So today on the R32 we're going to install the Forge Motorsport intake, and this fits the Golf MK5 and the Audi A3, anything with the 3.2 V6. So today we'll be replacing this, all this. So you remove this top plastic cover here and get rid of that. And once you pop that piece out, you can see salt and stuff all built up on it. So we get that out of the way. Piece number 2, and then you'll have to remove this piece here. Once you remove the screws for the cover, you can lift that up, and you're going to have to unplug the sensor here. So to remove this sensor, you just sort of push back on here and pull at the same time. So we got that removed, and next we'll remove the noise pipe. So we're just going to unclamp that from here for now until we find a solution to remove it permanently. Alright, so I removed the flexi hose part from the intake, and we're going to have to reuse this part for the air sensor. So what I'm going to do is remove this with the Phillips head screwdriver, then we'll plug the sensor back in because we fit this between the silicone hoses. And you can see you have your sensor there and your mesh for the intake to protect all that stuff from coming in. And it's pretty clean on the inside of this part. Pretty good. Filter's pretty clean. I hooked that sensor back up, and it tells you the airflow on the bottom. It has the arrow, so you can't mess that up. You'll have it the right way. And we'll set that aside for now. So we're going to go ahead and remove the whole filter box. Pull the air box from the 2 locating rubbers and remove from car. Oh, I guess you just pull on it and that'll come off. Interesting. What do we do now? Oh, there's one more. Just want to dump all this dirt out before I try to show you guys anything. Alright, so apparently it just locks down with one little rubber thing there, and then through that hole, and one more on the back corner. So underneath it would be this little plug, and right here on this rubber foot. So we got to get these wires out of the way and clean this all up. So the next step is going to be taking out the bracket, and that's just a 10mm socket on 3 bolts. So this is what it looks like once you have the air box and intake removed. A little dirty, I can clean it up a little bit. So if you're doing this on the Audi A3, it talks about a breather hose right here and a bunch of other stuff you have to do. But with mine, we're just going to jump to this step, and we already removed that plastic piece with the airflow sensor there, so we can start installing it. And it's tough to see in this picture because they have the black piping, but on this one you can see you're going to use a short hose and then the 90-degree elbow, and then put your filter, and then the last silicone blue piece before the air scoop. So the kit's going to come with 3 larger hose clamps and 3 smaller hose clamps. So once you get everything opened up and sorted out, it's pretty easy to figure out where the hoses go and what clamps you're going to use. This large section goes on the intake scoop here. This section is going to go up top by the throttle body, and then the sensor, and then we'll have this 90-degree coming down. It's got the logo, so that's pretty cool. So now once you get that set up, the first hose and then the mass airflow sensor, I changed the wire around a little bit, but it's still not going to reach without putting extreme stretch on it. So we're going to have to cut the wire out of that bundle and see what we can do. So I started unwrapping the wire, but I think I'm just going to unplug all these sensors and try to run this wire with my hands on in front of this one and see what we can do there. And you want to find it, where there's the least amount of tension on it. So there's plenty of you know, there's not going to be any issues hitting bumps and stuff there. So now we can put that hose clamp on, move on to the 90, and then we'll put the filter on. So most of it's done now. I got the intake scoop on, and this screw, very easy to put in. This one, not so much. So it's really tricky to get that screw in, you know, with a bit and stuff, because you're right up against here. So I don't know. Now I gotta figure out how to get this piece between here, which probably means taking the filter back off so we can smush it in between. So that's how much stuff you get rid of, that bracket, that whole air box, and the filter. And that's what you're left with, but we still have to clean it up more. So the Tao scooter comes in handy again, because I dropped a wrench down into the engine bay, and I know it's on the skid plate, I can hear it. I actually took like this Swiffer duster, taped a magnet to the end, tried getting it out, doesn't work. But I heard it move, and I know it's on the skid plate and it's not going to affect anything, but the only way to get to it is to take the skid plate off. So I took the scooter to the hardware store and bought this little magnet claw flex thing. So we're going to see if this magnet can get it. Well, that didn't take long. I think I got it. I literally no more than just shoved this thing down there once, gave it a quick little spin around, and I hear a wrench dragging on the skid plate. So, but I mean, this thing's getting stuck on everything else, so it didn't grab it that time. You gotta be kidding me. Like, I stuck the thing up from underneath into the skid plate, and now I can't get it out. Like, it's stuck. So, it looks like I'm taking the skid plate off in the dark. Alright, so the other day it got dark, and I dropped a wrench down on the skid plate. And then I went and got those magnets to get the wrench out, and the magnets got stuck under there, under the oil pan, so I had to go and take those out. This little screw was holding it up. But we have the forge intake installed now. And now we have to do something about this noise pipe that goes into the cabin. So I ordered the piece to cover the hole on the firewall, and then we'll remove that. So we'll get rid of that piece too. And that's what it looks like installed. So there's a couple more things I'm going to do while I'm waiting for this piece to come for the noise pipe delete. And then I'll show you what it looks like once the piece gets here and we cover that hole in the firewall and get rid of all that.